Welcome on into the Wildcats Today Podcast, where we are going to talk about that ugly display of basketball that we just saw for the Kentucky Wildcats in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer of Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined by Carson Nash. We are not our normal peppy selves after that loss. So, Carson, how you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, not the best. And I'm down with the sickness right now too. So I've got two things that are weighing on me now. So that definitely was not fun.
Mike, you got anything to say before we get into this? PG.
Let's see. That was pretty rough. Too much to come back from. Two thumbs down.
Yeah. Okay.
Two thumbs down.
I mean, what frustrated me, I've seen a lot of folks upset about us not having point guards. Completely valid to be upset when we have point guards. And anyone, and I saw a quote from Jack Pilgrim talking about, for those saying that people griping about not having point guards, we didn't show up at all. There was no intensity. I think both things are true. We did not. Man, we got some good comments already flying. This is gonna be a fun one. That was
that's a good comment.
That's great. That's gonna be tough to beat for comment of the day. So take your best shot.
Yeah.
So I think two things are true. We're missing the presence of Lamont Butler and Kirk Creasaw on the floor. And I'll talk about Kirk Creasaw being more significant than basketball. I think he's just that road dog with that mentality. But I'll tell you this. I think that this basketball team, we've won games without them. We've won big games without them. I don't know who the hell that team was that showed up today, but that wasn't the same team we saw in Knoxville last Tuesday. So I was really, really disappointed in our basketball team tonight.
I was really, really disappointed in our effort.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the game, we looked like we didn't even want to be out there. I hope to goodness that this is not a hangover from Saturday and it's going to continue. But our body language was so poor and looked like we didn't want to do anything. They were running around in circles around us, getting wide open shots, and it looked like our players were just content with that being the case. And that's what really frustrated me, is the effort and intensity that we showed tonight.
And now okay. So we'll talk about Ole Miss shooting. I'm a believer in averages. Because they always seem to work themselves out. In college basketball, even at the Division I level, when a team has somewhat good looks, they're going to miss some. That's just the reality. And it just felt like they were hitting every good look, and then they were hitting some tough, contested shots. Hand in your face. Matthew Morrell, what did he officially go from three today? 6 of 11. He's a 31% three-point shooter.
And what's the deal with him? Jimmy Dykes was saying that he doesn't practice.
Oh, we turned on Leach. We immediately turned off Jimmy Dykes like that.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all. I should have done the same thing. But he was saying that Morrell doesn't practice during the week because his back and legs are messed up. So, he just goes out and balls, I guess. That's a good gig to have. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that is a good gig to have. Amari Williams was impressive, a triple-double. Congrats to him. I really don't like that he's not going to get to celebrate that. That's a little frustrating. But, Amari Williams showed up. I thought that Jackson Robinson did everything he could to give us a shot here. Ortega really, really struggled in this game, 8 of 17. And it's funny because he scored 24 points, which is crazy to me. But how many shots did he miss at the rim, Carson?
It seemed like we missed layups all night long. And there was a point in the first half where we had missed 7 shots at the rim, which was 14 points. And at that point, it felt like we were down by 50. So we could have used 14 points at that moment. And a bunch of them were bunnies. It was very uncharacteristic for Ortega to miss at the rim like that. And I feel like we just struggled around the rim all night long. And that was really our downfall.
Yeah. Okay. So now I have to ask you a question. And it's not a positive question. It's not going to be a fun one to talk about. When is it time to start having the conversation? Maybe this team just isn't going to have it. Can we sit here and keep making excuses and say, because I mean, it's not an excuse that we're missing both of our point guards. But what I'm saying is, like, can we keep saying next game, or in March? I mean, like, or is this team just, is it going to be we make the round of 32 and lose, and then that's it type of team? Like, what, talking bigger picture here, what do you see being the future for this team in the next 10 games?
I think, in my opinion, I think it all rests on the hands of Lamont Butler. I mean, if you have Lamont, I think you get back to winning ways, because you have your point guard who runs the offense, who's the best defensive point guard in the country. You get him back. I really don't believe you're going to get Kerr back. I mean, just seeing the way he goes out and shoots and stuff, it looks like he's barely moving. But yeah, I think if Lamont doesn't come back, I do not like our chances very much. I'd say round of 32.
I mean, I'll tell you this. I wrote an article today. It now has us deadlocked 50-50 on the ESPN matchup predictor for Oklahoma, which once again, that doesn't really matter that much, but it does kind of open your eyes to we got struggles down the road. We're projected to go 3-7. We were projected to lose this one, and we did, to go 3-7 with that game, I guess, being a tie. Even if you chop that up as a win, they have us going under 500 in our next 10 games. Now we have 9 more after the loss tonight. I mean, is there a world? I mean, we're obviously going to make the tournament, but is there a world where we go on a real downhill slide and fall deep down into the depths of the seed lines, Carson?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a world, especially the way our defense looks right now. I mean, they couldn't guard me and you out there. We would both go for 30 points on them. But,
I won't. I'll give you that. I am not going to say that about me. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they couldn't guard anybody right now. And so that really, I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, if you can't guard anybody, you're not going to beat very many teams in the SEC. So you could fall down a path where you don't want to be. And that could end up being a 7 seed in the tournament, like something nasty that you do not want to happen. So we need to turn it around quick, and hope Lamont gets healthy soon.
Yeah, you do need him out there. But I mean, what makes me mad, we could have won that game tonight without Kerr and without Lamont. The intensity from the start, did you see anybody fired up? Did you see any fist bumping? Now, I get it. We didn't have many opportunities. They went on a run. But when the team goes out on a run, that's what you have to do. You have to get an and one when you're down 8 points to cut it to 5 and get your team fired up. There was nothing. There was absolutely no fire from this team tonight. And that is one thing I never expected to have to say about Coach Pope's team. I was, you know, I'm never going to sit here and be super mad at Coach Pope. I struggle to do that. I mean, obviously when we get deeper down the road, we're going to have to do it. But if he starts to have struggles, I think Coach Pope didn't have his guys ready mentally tonight. It kind of seemed like to me, because they did not come out hot. And that environment was terrible. I mean, no, any Ole Miss fans in here, good win for y'all. But I mean, there was there was a lot of blue in there. No one, I mean, that was not that bad of a road game. I mean, really. So it was just, we showed up and we did not want to be there, it looked to me.
It seems like this team has some major struggles on the road. I mean, outside of the Tennessee win, we've played our worst. Well, I guess on Saturday we played our pretty much worst game of the whole season. But we've always played our worst on the road. So that, in my opinion, that's an energy and effort thing. Like I harp on all the time. If you can't get up for a road environment, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can't look in that crowd and tell me that all those Ole Miss fans saying the worst things about you ever, it doesn't fire you up a little bit. I mean, it was embarrassing the way we came out and performed tonight.
Thank you, Cade. They also beat Mississippi State on the road.
They did, but that feels like a year ago with the way we've been trending now.
And they've struggled.
Lamont was on our team, and yeah.
So I just tell you this. I mean, looking at in a minute, Carson will and we're not going to go all night long because Carson's a little bit sick, so we're not going to go crazy long tonight. But I do want to look at our next 5 games, kind of do a prediction. I mean, it's kind of to try and maybe instill a little bit of confidence in ourselves, but because I mean, the goal of this I hope everybody here listening and Carson and I is to not overreact one way or another. I mean, this team, I saw Mike just commented, we are capable of beating anybody on any given night, but we're also capable of losing to anybody on any given night. So that's just a little bit. And there's a great point right there. We beat Gonzaga on the road without Lamont. I mean, we've won some big games without Lamont this year. We've played well at times on the road without. Although that I guess technically was a neutral site, but it was in Seattle, so I mean, it was on the road. So I mean, I guess getting to the X's and O's of it, y'all keep comments. We'll pull them up as we can. If y'all got any questions or thoughts you want to share, keep throwing them in there. But Carson, I mean, we talked about no Lamont. We talked about how we flat out just didn't seem to show up. But what do you think X's and O's wise frustrated you in this game?
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't get the ball to Andrew Carr more. He had a clear mismatch in the paint, and I feel like he could have just went over top of people. And same with Amari. I mean, whenever we decided that we wanted to go in the paint, we scored almost every time. So I don't know why that wasn't our and I'm talking about offense, like our offense mattered. We played good on offense. The whole problem was our defense. Like if we would have played halfway decent defense, we would have won the game because we played very good in the second half. So letting them hit all those big time shots in the second half when they really didn't have any offense flowing at all was killer to us. So for me, it's way more on the defensive end. And I just don't know that you have the guys right now. I don't know if it's an X's and O's thing. I think you don't have the guys to guard right now.
Yeah, I agree. So what are your thoughts on this? This is a good thought here. We played a little zone tonight. What were your thoughts on how that went? It was funny. I'm pretty sure our first possession of zone of
they hit a 3 over Kobe Bryant in the corner.
But I mean, what were your thoughts on the zone in general? We saw it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I like it because I think you're right. I think percentages are a big thing. So like these teams that get really hot just because they're hot for a half doesn't mean that you go away from it, right? I mean, they're going to make their 3-pointers. I thought we should have ran more zone and forced them. But at the same time, it's hard to run anything when you're getting beat off the dribble every play. I mean, they were getting consistently in the paint at will every time off the dribble. And it's going to be tough to be good at defense at all if your guards are getting beat off the dribble like that.
Okay. I want to throw a crazy stat at you, which I know that you'll know from watching the game, but I think it really sheds some light on why we need to be better defensively. We lost the turnover battle by 7, and we turned it over 8 times. Think about that. Think about that just for a second. We turned the ball over 8 times and lost the turnover margin by 7. Shout out to Ole Miss. They turned the ball over 1 time in an entire basketball game. I mean, what is your takeaway there, Carson? Like, how can we be better at creating turnovers?
It comes back to energy and effort. You got to fight through screens and jump passing lanes to get where you want to be. And I feel like we did a really good job of that at the beginning of the season with Ortega and Lamont. They were really good at that. And then we haven't seen that tenaciousness on defense since. I feel like it's almost like an identity crisis at this point for our team. It feels like a lot of moping's going on and they need to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. Keep putting stuff in about this game and the big picture, but let's play a little game here, Carson. Our next 5 games, we play South Carolina in Rupp on Saturday. We play Tennessee in Rupp on Tuesday. We go to Austin to play the Longhorns next Saturday. We host Vandy. We go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. What is our record in those 5 games? If we want to talk about trying to turn this around, y'all put that in the comments over our next 5 games, knowing those are the 5. What is our record? Carson, what are your thoughts? I'll share mine.
Yeah, I'm struggling looking at this because after watching tonight, I'm full on. It's either Lamont's coming back or this team is toast. Like I'm full on at that point. So I'd say you win. I still think you can win 3 out of those games, though. I think you can beat South Carolina and Vandy at home, and then you can find a way to win one of the other 3.
Yeah. I don't think you win in Tuscaloosa. I like that they beat us the first time. I mean, you know what I mean? Because, you got that little, hey, they beat us. It's tough to beat a team twice. But Texas is a team. I've watched them play about 2 or 3 times this year. They're a good basketball team, but it's like, are they? We can beat them on the road. I think that we go 3-2. I think we beat South Carolina and Vandy. I think we lose in Rupp to Tennessee, as much as I hate to say it. And I think that we win in Austin and lose in Tuscaloosa would be my guess there. 3-2. So, which would put us back at 500, right? Because we're 4-5.
Yep.
So, would that make us 8-8? Is that right?
Yeah. No, we're 4-5. That would be No, you're right. I think.
Math.
I don't know. Yeah. My head's not ready to do math right now. I'm
Precisely.
not in that mood.
I mean, I just don't. I guess the frustration for me is when you lose a basketball game where you just get outplayed, and I sound like a rookie baseball coach right now. When you get outplayed and lose, I'm fine with it. But when you get out efforted and lose, I'm angry. And I mean, I just don't. I don't like that. And I did not expect to see that from Mark Pope's team ever. So that's why I think it's even more frustrating.
No, yeah, 100%. And I mean, you're going to have to, if you're Mark Pope, you're going to have some tough conversations with some of these guys coming up and find out who they really are. Because, I mean, you got to unlock them to reach the full potential of this team, or else we're going to fan out pretty quickly.
So, all right. What are your thoughts on this? I wonder if all the losing is going to hurt recruiting. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, because hear me out on that. I understand that, and that's where our minds quickly go. I mean, everyone kind of thinks that what will affect recruiting. To me, every recruit knows to give a coach a little bit of time. He did. I know it's a cliche. We've said a lot. He built this roster in 2 months or whatever it was. And I'll add on top of that, I mean, I just think this team, like this type of basketball team, when you go and you add Jasper Johnston and the Caden Lewis and Malachi Moreno, potentially maybe a Nate Amen, you never know. I think that is going to be a massive difference maker, because you're going to have the portal guys who are going to come in and be your dominant, great basketball players. Then you're going to have your athletic freaks, your 5 stars. I think that mix is going to be really, really good. So, I mean, I'm fired up to see what we look like with some elite talent, because right now,
that's a fair comment, because they should win every night. It's Kentucky, so let's just put that to bed.
Is he talking about us or people?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do too. I think they should win every night.
I mean, I feel like we should win every game. We're Kentucky.
I mean, yeah, I guess. So, you know, this is a frustrating loss, man. This is a really, really tough loss for this basketball team, because you needed a bounce back, and we've done it all darn year. We've bounced back from losses. I thought we were going to bounce back from the painful Arkansas debacle and win this game, have a 2-0 week, and we're going to feel a little bit better heading into next week. I mean, realistically, this team should have been 3-0 over the stretch of Arkansas, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. And right now, we have to win on Saturday to go 1-2. So, I mean, it's frustrating. I mean, to keep reiterating that point, it really, really is frustrating.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very unfortunate that we're at this position now, because, I mean, think about a couple months ago when you beat Gonzaga and you're all pumped, and Andrew Carr is actually giving you 18 points, and, you know, and we look good, and Lamont was out that game, but you had Kerr, and you just felt a lot better than you do right now. And it's very unfortunate that the circumstances are the way that they are. But that's no excuse, and you gotta find it, you know, in yourself to give some effort. And that was not the case tonight.
So I guess my last question for you, Carson, do we find a way to turn this around? Now, let's say Lamont misses 3 more games. Okay. Scenario A. Scenario B, we don't see Lamont until around March. Do you think we turn this around?
Here's my thing too. I think this team's success at the end of this SEC stretch is telling, but it's not going to be as telling because you're going to play teams in the tournament that aren't from the SEC and aren't going to be as good. I mean, these SEC teams, let's not get this twisted. The Ole Miss looked like the Golden State Warriors at some point tonight. I mean, they're a good team too. They took Auburn down to the wire on Saturday. That's a good team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's not over exaggerate the fact that, I mean, we were bad, but they were good too.
They weren't good. Time. They were they were elite.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Yeah. Like
they were really good. So I think you can get by. If you can get by the end of your SEC stretch, you should feel pretty good going into March, especially if you get Lamont Butler back.
I'll just tell you this. I know it might sound frustrating because this is Kentucky and the standard in conference play is if you lose more than like 4 games or 5 games, the sky's falling. This SEC is not the SEC that I think a lot of folks in the comments and you and I grew up watching, Carson. I mean, this is a different animal right now. So, I mean, you find a way to go 10-8 in SEC play, which is not going to be the most easy thing in the world to do. I mean, it's not. But if you can find a way to go 10-8, heck, 9-9 in SEC play, I'll feel okay. I'll feel going in. I say this a lot about SEC baseball. SEC baseball is what, honestly, SEC basketball is what SEC basketball this year is what SEC baseball has been historically. And I think that I always say this about SEC baseball. I don't care if it's Missouri. I don't care if it's the Kentucky of old. You get those teams in a regional, they will beat any ACC, Big Ten. They're better than all of these teams by a wide margin. I think that SEC basketball is going to be different in March to where you get these teams in, they're going to make a run. I mean, like you look at some of these teams that are in that 15 to 25 range, they'd probably be okay in the SEC, but like Louisville and Marquette and St. John's and like some of these teams that are in that, 12 to 25 range that are great basketball teams, they could maybe go 10-8, but they're not going to be what they are in their own conference. It's a dominant conference right now. And I think that you get this basketball team with a healthy Lamont Butler, maybe, cross your fingers and knock on wood and hope a healthy Kirk Kriisa. This team could make a run in March. But I love how you muted and then unmuted and coughed as you unmuted.
I clicked again.
That's funny. But you know what I mean? You get those guys healthy. I believe that we're a lot better than every other conference, and we'll be able to go on a run unless you're playing an SEC team, and then that's kind of sucks. But I mean, if you're playing an Oregon or you know what I mean, the good basketball teams, but I think we're better because we're in a better conference, which makes it look like we're not as good as we are. We're just playing the best of the best every night.
Yeah, no doubt. I completely agree with you. A very unfortunate loss. I think we can turn it around though. I'm starting to question it a little more now though. I didn't have these questions before tonight that I do now. So we're going to need a gut check this week and have to win Saturday. No ifs, ands, buts about it, because if you lose Saturday, then you're starting to look at a bad path.
Sometimes just a win, even over South Carolina, who is undefeated. I don't know if they're playing tonight. It might be their bye week. I'll tell you this, though. South Carolina in Columbia has given Auburn crap, they gave Texas A&M a run. They gave Mississippi State a run. They should have beat Florida. I'm just telling you, this South Carolina team, now they've been a lot better at home than they've been on the road, but still, you don't show up, you could lose this ball game. So we need to see Kentucky show up and play their brand of basketball on Saturday and hopefully defend, because if they don't, you could lose South Carolina. And if you do that, we're talking apocalypse, zombies type of stuff.
Yeah, no more Black Ops 6. It's South Carolina. Yeah. But I think you go on. I think you beat South Carolina. I honestly think you're better than Tennessee still. I am one of those people that's just not bought in on them at all. I think they're.
I don't know how they're number 4. I don't understand
either.
They beat Florida, great win, impressive win, but I just don't. They're not. If they're not the 4th best team in college basketball.
No,
I don't understand that.
They
top
don't
four.
have enough offensive
No,
firepower to be
exactly.
the fourth best team in the country.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right, Carson, anything else before we get out of here?
Nope, that's it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I know it was a sucky evening, but shout out to all y'all who could make it.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. I would have much rather been happy talking about a win right now, but we're not. It's unfortunate. On Friday, we will have a preview, maybe Thursday. Let's do it Thursday because we play at noon on Saturday. On Thursday, we will have a preview for y'all of the South Carolina game. Need to win that one. So we'll have that preview for you all on that one on Thursday. Thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Have the best possible night you can. And we'll see you on Thursday right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.